fees, appraisal, survey, title insurance, property insurance, everything like that. That should give you a negative number. That is your total out of pocket. Okay, so you can do this, when you're analyzing deals, you can run this formula and get the answers in a matter of seconds. Roughly what your out of pocket's gonna be, okay? So here's the example that we just did. The 160 times 70%, minus 100, minus 20, minus 8 is minus 16. You wanna take a picture? Good. And I'll send the presentation to you too. Does that make sense for everybody? So this is, forget all the numbers I was talking about, this is the simplest, easiest way to get to the cash out of pocket.
Chris, how do you determine the ARV is? Someone that comes in, does an appraisal? Or?
Yes, so ultimately we do a third-party appraisal, but when you're running these numbers for yourself, it's very important to have someone with MLS access on your team.
Right, so you're pulling comps or CNN.
Right, yeah, you're gonna pull comps, you're gonna use the realtors here at KW with the Andy Allen team to pull comps, that they know the market, they're here, they're local, they have access to the MLS, which is huge, to give you a good idea of what the property is worth after repair value ends. Okay, everyone got this? I'll wait.
You put your email on the board so you really.
Yes. Well, I've got it, so you should have it. Yeah, I'll have my.
We'll make sure everyone gets it, okay?
Okay. All right, a little bit of the terms. So, like I said, we loan up to 75% in good situations, most often 70, which can include 100% of costs. Right, that's all of purchase and all of repairs if you buy right. 6-month notes, 3-month extension, 14% interest, 3% origination. So for today, for everyone here that's an attendee of the event, we're gonna waive $500 for every loan that you ever do with us, all right? So typically we charge $1,000 admin. We're gonna waive $500 for anyone in this room that ever does a loan, okay? And then one thing we like is repeat business. We make money on our fees, so we want to put you in a good deal that you can get out of, you can refinance with Rich, and you can come back and do it again, right? That's the whole point. To buy 10 properties in 10 months, you've got to turn them. So because we want you to do that, we want you to be successful, we want to reward you with that. So we have a repeat borrower program that's every third loan you do is only 1 point origination, okay? So you're saving thousands of dollars. Taking advantage of this one right here, this will turn your 200% return to a 300% return, right? Saving $3,000 every third year.
You're lower than 14%?
Can't touch an interest rate. Now that's tied to the fund. We have, $30 million we have to pay investors. So the 14%'s tied with that. But comparing saving 2% over a year, if you're in the note, you're saving a few $100. In this example, you're saving a few $1,000s that's real cash. All right, the refi options I'm going to leave up to Rich. He's going to go pretty in depth about this. So I'm just touching on this because that's my favorite way to do these deals, is to buy and hold. Why? Because we actually bought 10 properties in 10 months. The first 10 properties we ever bought in San Antonio, we actually purchased them in less than 10 months, right? And there's no way to do this without hard money. So this is what 10 properties in 10 months, it's not gonna be easy, but if you bust your ass and get out there and have the right map and have the right team, you can do this. Right? Who would bust their ass buying some passive income for $50,000 a year and almost $400,000 in equity, right? Almost everybody. You should. Why not, right? You can do it. I did it with starting with nothing, with no job, with hardly little money, right? Not being able to qualify for loans. After we did this,
Did you actually have 4 rehabs going on at one time?
upwards of 5, almost 6. But we were constantly buying, looking, rehabbing, renting, leasing, managing, while I had my full-time job, right, with Longhorn. Doing that in a new city, it's definitely possible, right? So it's how much time you want to commit, how much you want to build your portfolio, how big is your why.
Hey Chris, can you talk about how you're able to acquire so many properties with the reserves amount that were needed to be able to do that?
Right. So with these properties, we had, between my wife and I had 2 business partners, right? So we staggered loans from different people so that we could maintain the reserve requirements, maintain the debt to income ratios, everything like that was still in good order. So we did this because I couldn't qualify for loans starting off. I quit my job, came back, wanted to be a full-time investor. It took 2 years for me to be able to qualify. So that's what we did to do that. Afterwards, after these, then we started buying on our own. And this is the whole portfolio that we purchased within the past 3 years. Yes, sir.
So these loans, are they primarily focused on the individual buyer, or do you guys extend loans out to maybe somebody with an LLC, an investor, or a group of investors that have a corporation?
Yeah, good question. So yes, we can do both. The downside is you want to be careful what your exit strategy is, because Fannie Freddie won't loan to corporations or LLCs. So you're going to limit yourself to commercial, blanket, or portfolio loans. So you're going to lose the best rate and term you can get on the refi, which is going to affect about $100 to $150 a month in cash flow. If you can get 10 Fannie Freddie, get 10 Fannie Freddie. So the whole portfolio we put together, we've sold about 6 of these, but in 3 years, accumulated $100,000 in passive income and over $500,000 in equity, right? A 26-year-old kid starting off with no experience, no money, and without a job. Our family's portion of this, because we did the first few deals with partners, is about $70,000. That was enough to retire my wife, so she can stay at home, while we make a move to Dallas and be prepared to start a family. It's enough for us busting our ass for 3 years, enough to retire a nurse, so she can be a stay-at-home eventual mother. The steps to qualify, you can visit our website. It's online, longhorninvestments.com. When you're working with a realtor, whenever you're submitting offers, it's important to be pre-qualified first. 99% of the time, they're going to require some kind of proof of funds or a pre-qualification letter before they'll even take your offer seriously. If you don't have the $120,000 cash in the bank to show as proof of funds, then I would go ahead and get pre-qualified, because you're going to need to know if you can buy properties before you try to buy properties. Again, we pre-screen you to make sure that you can get out of our loans before you get in them. I've overseen 400 loans personally, and not one single property have we taken back, all right? Of the 400 that I've overseen, and still less than 0.5% is a company, I haven't had a single person where we've had to take a property back, okay? I've got a checklist that I can send to everybody. Again, I'll send that to the distribution list after this event today. It's too small to read here, so I'll email that to you. Pretty much it's a step-by-step checklist of what to expect, regardless of what lender you're using, what you can expect throughout the transition, or the transaction. Are there any questions?
How does the draw process work?
Okay, draw process. So since we have to control that the work is actually done to the property, it's done in a draw fashion. So if the contractor requires money up front, the investor would pay that. You would request an inspection. You would send a third-party inspector to make sure that work has actually been done, and then reimburse you the money that you request.
Is there any limit on how many draws or?
No, so we're very flexible with our draw system. You can use as many or as few as you want. Our inspections are only $100, which is the cheapest in the business. You can do 1 if you want, you can do 10 if you want. Just keep in mind they are $100 each. Yes, sir?
On the other side of your loan, going to the conventional isn't there a point where the conventional lender is looking at you going, hey, you've already got this and you haven't paid this off yet?
Right, so Rich will touch base more on that, but as long as you buy it right, and you have the right plan up front, the more that you buy actually increases your ability to buy more on the debt to income side. So as long as the other criteria is still there, the credit score, the employment, job history, cash reserves, everything like that, the more you buy, you actually become stronger as a borrower.
You've got to be a planner and document.
Yeah, they got a cash flow. You have to have all your stuff lined up, right? Because we're gonna ask for a couple things up front. They're gonna ask for 90 pages worth of documentation. So,
Hey.
you gotta go back. I had to submit my college diploma, my degree.
You did,
No joke.
We did your
At
loan.
one point.
And your firstborn.
Yeah. Yes, sir, in the back.
Is somebody able to go ahead and use you guys for hard money for the acquisition, but use their own funds for the repair?
Yes, you can do that, and the loan amount will be less. However, you still have to control the rehab value, or the rehab. So you're gonna have to put that money in escrow, and it'll still be released on a draw format. Otherwise, we're loaning at 100% of value. If you're borrowing just the purchase price, and we don't control the rehab, the property's still worth the purchase price. So since we're lending on a future value of the asset, we have to control the repairs. So you can do that. You won't pay interest on the funds or anything. You'll just have to put that in escrow, and then it'll be released upon inspections.
So it'd be a draw just like if I borrowed the whole amount from you?
Correct. However, you wouldn't be paying interest. That's the difference. Yes, sir.
Is there a best practice on how to divide up the draws?
It depends on your liquidity situation and the size of the rehab. So I would generally do
Say
5,000 to 10,000 increments.
$20,000 rehab, like you
Yeah, if you can afford to float 10,000 at a time, I would probably just do 2 draws. If you can afford to float all of it, and you still have enough money to go buy other deals or do whatever, whatever money, yes. If you need it every single week and you're doing $3,000 a week for 10 weeks or whatever it may be, then do it weekly. But I would recommend doing as few as possible if you can afford it, because you're paying that $100 every time.
Can you do your own rehab?
Yes, so you can. However, Rich will probably touch base with this too. It should be done right. It needs to be documented.